Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Wednesday, June 18th, 2014. I'm astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Next month in Sedona, you can hang out with me for my big Jupiter and Leo bash. We're going to go deep into astrology and get to hang out for a whole entire weekend. If you want to join me, go to my website and register, leokingevents.com. And we're going to talk about all this energy in Pisces today and how it can be somewhat of a numbing effect, all while we're in the middle of this retrograde happening in Gemini, where we're wanting stimulation, we're wanting things to move and to happen and to figure things out, but our minds are almost just like shot, you know? I mean, we did start this month with a new moon in Gemini squaring Neptune, so when it comes to the mental capacity, and I called it the oceans of water at the beginning of this month that we felt, it's all back now. The oceans come back, now the waves are back, and we're just being hammered and kind of like, are we going to be able to move through this? Are we able to go with the flow? Can we just go with the flow? Part of it is the flow, to learn to swim. This is good for swimming, actually. But it's all about us having to deal with this numbing effect. I don't know how to describe it any better. Sometimes when you're out there at sea, and it's a trance, and we can get lost in some ways, or we just, you know, can escape into different areas. But the moon today is in Pisces, and it's heavy in here, and it's going to come over Chiron, which Chiron's about to go retrograde at the end of this week, but more importantly, it's still making a trine over to Saturn and Scorpio. So there's something underneath we're figuring out today. I think it's very deep. We're going to tap into our intuition and see if our truth is really in the right direction or not. And if it is, it's just about still surrendering, going with the flow, not tripping out. But if you're starting to feel today that your truth isn't aligned right in your life, there will be heavy signs today that can point you to why or where. And more information gathering is where we're at right now. I mean, trying to communicate too right now is a very weird space, as it's not that easy when you're underwater, like, blah, 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 hey, and then the wave comes up and, so I wanted to tell you, well, hold on. Like in our brains and in our minds, there's all this, oh yeah, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're being submerged in our spiritual self. We're being submerged in our own places. Sometimes it can be confusing. Sometimes it can be like, I don't even know how to get it out. I don't even know what to say. I want to say this, and it's a sensitive aspect to our communication. And where's our truth? And are we really letting our feelings out? Or are we not? This could be very where we're maybe wounded in a way that we don't want to expose maybe exactly how we feel, because we don't know how to communicate it right, or we're not ready, we don't have all the information, or we don't want to trip out. There's a lot of like mind tripping out going on. And we're going to talk about Mars. It finally came off the cardinal cross point, but here is Mars now opposing Uranus and making a square, still to Pluto, so this T-square is happening, and really Mars is the focal point in my view. And really, well, Mars and Pluto really are. And I think that this is about this dynamic change we're wanting in our life. We're wanting to conquer, we're wanting to achieve these things. But it just seems like nothing can just move forward right now. I mean, yeah, I mean, if we look at it logically, sure, yeah, you're still moving on with your life. Yeah, you're getting something done. Yeah, you made that advancement in your life. But the truth is we're not conquering huge things like right now. You know, this is, well, I mean, what I'm trying to say is this is just not hugely dynamic times. I mean, Mars in Libra is at, you know, a detriment. It's not at a very strong position. You know, this is where, especially as this numbing effect's coming on, it could just feel like, gosh, is anything going anywhere? Am I even into this or not? Kind of like, what's the deal here? We kind of feel like we're in a toss-up. And so today I think we need to surrender to that and realize the universe is putting some Novocaine on for a reason. Maybe there's some tinkering going on in our lives behind the curtain that we don't realize. We need to pay attention to what that is going on. It's not that easy what we're getting drilled on by the universe to heal ourselves, to surrender by looking at our identity and making sure it's based off our truth. There's a lot of work in our lives we're having to do, and this is definitely digging into making sure we're in our truth, making sure that we're truly happy, making sure that we have all the information. This is an information gathering time while you're swimming. You know, it's sometimes, you know, I was a swimmer for 15 years, competition. And when I would swim, man, the things that went through my thought patterns were different than usual. you know, it was this and then that, and then I was thought about this and that, but I came up with great things. In our lives right now, this is a time to just come up with things. Making it happen, you know, it's there, but there's a sense of, you know what, this is definitely not where you've won the war today. This is definitely not a time where it's just like dun 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 dun. Sure, there might be advancements happening to bring you some battles to win, but the war has been far from over, and the war is far from being conquered. And you know, when July comes at the end, there's going to be a huge explosion, and the world is going to just change, and people are going to be dynamic again in this world, and conquering, and projects and relationships, and everything is just going to explode. I just got a huge goosebump, so I know I'm on the right track. But that's the astrology. The numbing effect can be still kind of intense right now. And to not trip out if you don't know what's going on. We're in a numbing effect. This is like the universe throwing down a cocktail down our throats. And it's just like, you know, surrender to it. But I think make sure you're becoming aware and you're becoming conscious. This is definitely a time for that, and not making sure you're just lost even though you're in this. There's information to gather. And we're going to talk tomorrow about this Sun-Mercury conjunction happening in the same spot that the Sun and Jupiter conjuncted last year. And I'm going to answer all those cancers to understand what it means, why the Sun and Jupiter won't conjunct a Cancer. That's going to be in tomorrow's video. What does the card of the day say? Oh, well, the King of Wands, baby. I don't even know if I've had the King of Wands yet as I've been doing my daily tarot. It's about us stepping on our throne, our life, our love, our happiness. This is the king that's got it, that's happy, that's feeling in his heart, that's empowered in his heart. And in our lives, we have to empower in our heart, but maybe there's a part of us that needs to go deep inside and know what that is, to empower from there. That if we're living in our light, if we're living in our love, we can conquer. But if we're not, we can't get there. And maybe we're getting worked on to bring us happiness again, to bring us our inner heart and our inner guidance. And we need to step into that. This is definitely a time that's weird and all over the place, especially today, as we could be in the depth of the waves extremely. And we've got to find new actions, and we're wanting excitement. To me, I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to be real. Mars opposing Uranus here and squaring Pluto, we're ready for something crazy to come into our lives. We're ready for some sort of disruption. We're ready for some sort of intensity. We're ready for something to kind of wake us up. The jolt I talked about yesterday was a jolt of Novocaine. Shifting of perception. But this perception is definitely intensely numbing. And with Mars and Uranus and all this Pluto energy, there might be just some shock that's starting to come, and you might start to see it today. But I definitely think when we have the big moon square tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the Sun-Mercury conjunction, everything's kind of leading towards the next couple days in this weekend of a shock to wake us up and see where this is all going. Check out my website, inclusiveastrology.com, if you have any questions or if you want to have a one-on-one reading. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I will see you tomorrow.